Support is growing for a high-speed rail network along the east coast, despite concerns it just wouldn't be viable given the cost and distance between cities. Even if a feasibility study does not give the project the go-ahead now, there's a push to preserve the rail corridors to take advantage of future opportunities as the population grows. Michael Troy reports.
The national broadband network may have dominated federal parliamentary debate this year, but there's an even more expensive nation-building project politicians from both major parties are quietly pushing for: a high-speed rail network.
It's often convenient in Australia to compare projects to the Snowy Mountain scheme. That was a large engineering project, and this concept is just as large.
Alstom has helped develop high-speed rail networks around the world. And although they are very expensive to set up, high-speed rail is booming in Asia, North America, the Middle East and Europe.
The scale of this project is too large for the private sector to undertake by itself. You would have to expect that the solution is going to be some form of a PPP with the involvement of governments, both at the state and federal level.
The idea of high-speed rail between Brisbane, Sydney, Canberra and Melbourne has been talked about for decades, but now for the first time the government has commissioned a $20 million feasibility study.
We know that high-speed rail has a great deal of public support. What we need to do is get the evidence and the facts in place so that we can then make a proper assessment.
We're looking down the barrel of probably something like 40 million people by 2050. We can already see the anger and dismay of commuters who are fed up with the congestion and the pollution.
In China, commuters are singing the praises of their rapidly expanding network with travel times comparable or better than flying, with train speeds of around 350 kilometres an hour.
The next 3 to 5 years will be a period of the fastest growth in China's high-speed rail. We will cover around 20,000 kilometres by 2015.
We can certainly learn from China, who are going ahead in leaps and bounds.
The Australian feasibility study will look at linking the major cities on the east coast, but costs could soar above $60 billion.
You would never set out to build an entire East Coast corridor in one go. You would, what you would do is identify where it's eventually going to run, and you would bring segments on stream as they become economically feasible.
Brendan Lyon from Infrastructure Partnerships Australia says it's vital the rail corridors are identified now, as a high-speed network will be even more important in the future with the populations of major cities expected to boom.
Once they're gone, they're gone. Once they're lost to us, it makes high-speed rail a very difficult proposition in terms of the economics and the engineering.
With Sydney Airport near capacity, he argues a high-speed rail link to Newcastle or Canberra could negate the need for a second airport.
You can get both of those regions to within about 40 minutes of Sydney with a high-speed rail link. So that offers a real opportunity to avoid the sunk cost of developing an entire new airport, which we've costed it somewhere around $15 billion, and that starts to make the economic case for high-speed rail really start to stack up.
Senator Helen Coonan says now is the best opportunity to get the project going, and politicians need to come up with some innovative funding arrangements, possibly involving the use of superannuation funds.
Our future prosperity and productivity will be held back by the quality of our infrastructure unless we address it.
The feasibility study is due to be completed in July and could lead to another, more comprehensive review soon after.